Hey guys, it's Clinton Jeff from UnleashThePhones.com, and here's a quick video review of the iPhone 5. Yeah, we finally got it in the house for review. Apple's latest and greatest smartphone. And it does look quite familiar, but I guess it is new after all. What you notice at the beginning is the huge 4-inch display, which looks quite large when you compare it to the 3.5-inch display that was on the iPhone 4S and all the older iPhones before that. You also have 4G LTE in America and a couple supported regions. But apart from that, you have that familiar design. It really does look a lot similar to the iPhone 4 and iPhone 4S. But of course, from the back, you can tell that it's different thanks to the aluminum back panel thingamajig. So yeah, that's about it. It's the same design-ish that was leaked before. So initially, the design was a little disappointing, but it is the same width as the iPhone 4S and all the previous iPhones, which means it's very easy to type on. It's also a bit slimmer and lighter than the iPhone 4S, which you might not be able to notice on camera. But it is the first thing you notice when you pick it up and use it. Apart from that, at the back, you also have that brushed aluminium back panel, which does look quite nice, but it does get a little bit of scratches. Even though it feels quite premium, it does get a little couple of scratches that you might see along the sides, especially. It's not so visible in the white version, but on the black version of the iPhone 5, it is pretty visible, especially that little edge right there that you see. So you definitely gonna want to keep a case for this if you're gonna use it out and about. I have been babying the iPhone 5, but still managed to get a couple dings here and there through normal usage. So apart from that, you have the 4-inch Retina display at the front. It's 640 by 1136 pixels. Not as high resolution as the 720p display, but you do get 326 ppi, which means details are pretty crisp and text also looks really detailed. There's also a new screen which removes a layer thanks to the in-cell touch technology. It doesn't really make that much of a difference when you compare it to the iPhone 4 and iPhone 4S screen when you look at them side by side, which I can kind of show you if I bring it in right now and increase the brightness as well. Just a sec, and there you go. So yeah, the screen does look a lot similar. So even though it is supposed to be better, viewing angles are just as good, and it's an IPS LCD, so colors are warm and vibrant, but not too saturated, like some AMOLED screens. Apart from that, the screen is pretty good, I guess. The viewing angles are also quite nice, as you can see, and no complaints as such. Below the screen, you have that little home button there. That's the same as on all the iPhones before it. It's just as springy and easy to use. I'm not sure how long it'll last though, because if you've ever had an iPhone before, you know that the spring button does get a little finicky. At the front, you have that center located 1.3 megapixel camera that can also record 720p. It's at the center now instead of at the side, which means it's, I guess, better for front-facing pictures. You also have a proximity sensor and a light sensor right there next to the earpiece. I guess it's just what you expect on an iPhone nowadays, no more, no less. On the sides, you have the same volume controls right there, which work well enough, just the same as before. You can use it to increase and decrease volume. There's also that little mute switch right there to put the iPhone into silent or vibrate mode. On the right side, you have that nano SIM card slot right there. Getting a nano SIM might be hard depending on where you're at. For me, I just cut down my micro SIM. At the top, you have this low and power button. There's no more 3.5 mm audio jack, which is now at the bottom right there in the crowded bottom of the iPhone 5. You also have the stereo loudspeakers. I'm not sure they're stereo. I think they're just a mono loudspeaker. And that new Lightning dock, which I'm going to show you in a sec, which is quite nice because you can put it in either way right into the iPhone, and it does feel more secure than I thought it would. One of the problems though is that if you have the old 30-pin adapter, you're gonna have to buy an adapter for that dock to use it with your current 30-pin adapter docks and stuff like that. So that is an issue, but apart from that, moving to the back, you have that 8 megapixel iSight camera with an LED flash. It's basically a reworked iPhone 4S camera. It's the same resolution, but you have some tweaks here and there, which means camera quality is also a little bit better. But you also have that sapphire crystal covering the glass, which does mean that you get some purple flare in pictures, though, but it's not too bad. Coming to the UI, the iPhone 5 runs iOS 6, which is also the same version of iOS that you can run on the iPhone 4S and the iPhone 4, and it looks exactly the same. All you can do in terms of personalization is move the icons around by pressing and holding on them and moving them around, or change the wallpaper. So it does look a little dated compared to Windows Phone and Android. Of course, now there are some apps that do take use of that larger screen. For example, a lot of first-party apps by Apple, like the Weather app and I think the Calendar app, all work fine and make use of that larger screen. Apart from that, you have the usual sharing options in iOS 6. You can share to Twitter, and there's also deep integration with Facebook now. And you can update them both right from the drop-down notification center, like I showed you. Apart from that, there is no NFC, unfortunately. So you have this new Passbook app, which Apple wants you to use to save your boarding pass information, your ticket information, coupons, etc. I couldn't actually make use of it much, so I can't really talk much about it. What I can talk about though is the messaging. Text input is very easy thanks to that nice keyboard, and the iPhone 5 is the same width, so you can type very happily, and the autocorrect should kick in and help you out from time to time. Of course, you have a larger screen now, so in landscape mode, you do get a lot more space to work with. It's considerably more compared to the screen size of the iPhone 4S, where you didn't have that much space, and it did seem a little cramped. But right now you have a lot more space, so you can actually type out much more comfortably in landscape. Though I can't remember the last time I actually used the landscape keyboard. Moving on, performance is just as good as it was on previous iPhones. Everything loads up really quickly and fast, though it is worth noting that some apps don't support the new screen, so you'll see these black color bars on each side of the screen. Most developers are updating the App Store, but those black screens are a little bit annoying. Hopefully, everyone will update their apps. Apart from that, performance is really quick as you can see, and there's no lag as such or slowdowns anywhere. You have a dual-core Apple A6 processor and 1 GB of RAM, which means all the gestures and everything loads up pretty fast. Moving on to music, you have the same UI that has been on the iPod app since day one. Of course, things look a little bit more shiny right now. It's still functional, and you still have cover flow, and you also get these new ear pods with the iPhone 5 that kind of felt a little loose in my ear, and audio quality wasn't that great. It was pretty average. Coming to images and video, you have the same Photos app that hasn't changed at all, but video is also in the same category. Of course, you can install a app like Cinex Player to get DivX and other formats because it's pretty limited out of the box. You can only play iTunes content. Then there's Apple Maps, which is uh, notoriously bad, as you might already know. It does show you where you are, but it does lack a lot of information like transit information or important POIs. You do get turn-by-turn direction in some parts of the world, though, and some regions also have these nice 3D maps you can see right there that look kind of cool and I guess are a little data intensive as well. But you can always switch to a satellite view or just a simple map view if you don't want to see all those fancy images. So yeah, Apple Maps is improving every day, but there's always Nokia's Here Maps in the meanwhile. The Hero Maps are free to download on Apple's App Store, which also has a lot of apps. Probably the best app collection on any platform right now. You have plenty of games, plenty of apps as well. Moving on to the camera app, you have pretty much the same UI again. It's very simple to use, and you can take a picture with the volume down key. You don't have that many options. You can just change and toggle the HDR setting or put an on-screen grid on, or switch to the panorama mode where you can take a long panorama picture with the iPhone. It does look pretty nice. Or you can switch to the video mode where I can record up to 1080p video. Both video and images do look pretty nice. You have lots of detail and dynamic range, and there's a nice depth of field effect as well. Of course, in low light situations, you do get a little bit of noise, but it's still above average. Moving to call quality, it's actually pretty good thanks to the three microphones on the iPhone 5. Call quality is really clear, and I did notice that network signal does get a little low compared to our other devices, but it's not too bad at all. Coming to battery life, you get exactly the same battery life as an iPhone 4S, in my opinion. You can go through one whole day of normal usage, I guess, but I don't expect much more. So, to conclude, the iPhone might no longer be the most cutting edge device on the market from a specs point of view. It does excel in some areas like ease of use and call quality is pretty good, and the camera is quite amazing as well, and you have lots of apps to choose from. It's still a top contender, but the display is just not as large as what you get with Windows Phone or Android right now. And the design does look a little bit boring compared to what's out there with Windows Phone devices, at least. So yeah, you know what? Check out our full review over on unleashthephones.com for a better idea of what we're talking about. And if you have any questions, let me know right in the comment section below.